Well, he calls himself a medium with a message. Matt Fraser is on a mission, using his unique gift to connect those who have passed with the loved ones they have left behind.
Matt joins us today, and let me begin with this. You know, this is absolutely a phenomenon, and I'm a skeptic. I'm a person who has always said that, man, that's not real. And I'm sure that you come into contact with a lot. What do you say to the person that just does not believe that this is real?
Well, first of all, I think everybody's a skeptic. I think they walk into events or to a psychic medium being skeptical, especially somebody who's never had an experience before. I've never had a reading from a psychic medium. And one of the things is that I tell people, come to my events. I love the skeptical ones. And more importantly, when I'm doing a group reading or a live event, it's always amazing that it's usually the skeptics who get read or who get a message. And it can be life-changing for them. Having an experience and connecting with somebody who had passed on, one of their relatives or close friends or whoever it may be, it's incredible to see how this person walks in and they're like, is this real? And then next thing you know, we're sitting there, you know, crying as they're connecting with their mother or their father or their sister or whoever it is that had passed on.
Now, speaking of experiences, what was it like for you when you first came in to discovering the power that you had at such a young age?
Because you were young, right? Little.
Yeah, I was about 4 years old, and I was petrified. I mean, I was that boy from The Sixth Sense. I was in my room at night, literally seeing and hearing the departed in my bedroom, and I was petrified. I was that boy, you know, pulling the covers over my head because I didn't want to hear the spirits. I didn't want to see dead people, and, you know, yelling for my mom to come in to help me because of the fact that I was so afraid, and I was seeing and experiencing things that to me at the time was frightening, and more importantly, that I really just couldn't explain.
Wow.
So was this something that, did other people in your family have it? Are you the first person in your family?
Yes, so it actually started with my grandmother. She had this gift. It actually started, you know, back in the 60s, 70s or whatnot, but it was kept so secret back then that my grandmother, you know, didn't even tell her husband. That's how secret it was. It was only done for close friends and family members, passed on to my mom. My mom had this gift as well. So then when I was, you know, growing up, and when I was just 4 or 5 years old, seeing the departed and hearing them, it was kind of normal. My mother would be coming in, I'm crying because I'm seeing dead people in my room, and my mother's on the side of me going, what are they saying to you? Who is it? Is it your grandmother? Talk to them. Right. And here I am like, no, you know, pulling the covers because
scary.
It was scary,
right.
Exactly.
And so you kind of pushed this aside for a while, right? And then when you became an EMT later on, because you want to help people, right?
Absolutely. I always felt a strong connection with people, and I loved working with people, and I always wanted to do something, you know, to help others. So I actually started my career as an EMT working for the World Trade Center in Boston. I worked for the Security Operations Department. And then what really happened was I went to see a medium myself after, you know, building up enough courage to look back into my own psychic ability. And when that had happened, it was amazing because I realized at that point it wasn't something to be afraid of. It was actually a gift that I could use to help people to heal. Right. So it kind of changed. It changed from helping people on the physical level to then helping people on the emotional level by putting them back in touch with their loved ones that have passed on.
Now talking about helping people, help us understand the difference between a psychic medium or just a psychic. Is there a difference between the two?
Yes, there is. So a psychic is somebody that you'd probably see who reads cards or reads people's energy, where a medium is somebody who communicates with the other side. And the way that I like to explain it is that the way that I get my information is that it doesn't just come through the ear, is that there's somebody in spirit on the other side of life that's providing that information to me. Right. So when I connect with somebody on the other side, a lot of times I like to believe that our loved ones who have passed on can see tomorrow so much more clearly than we can see today. Yep. So a lot of times they can see, you know, when we're going to get married, who's going to be within our life, you know, new houses that we're going to buy, new job changes, careers. So they'll tell me, you know, oh, I see my daughter doing this if it's a mother who's talking, or a father who's telling me, you know, that's going to be his daughter's birthday, or things like that. And I hear that on the other side, and that's how I get my information.
All right. We're going to have you stick around. This is the moment of truth right now for the skeptic especially.
Like oh,
Matt
yes.
is going to stick around. He's going to do a reading for Michael and I next. You don't want to miss it. And we are back with renowned psychic medium, Matt Fraser. Thanks for sticking around with us a little bit.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right, so let this part begin. I know we're both like all morning. We've just been like a little nervous. Very vulnerable. That's what it is. I was trying to put my finger on what was making me so nervous. It's being vulnerable. I think that's what it is. So you start with him, and I'll be over here.
Okay, so then what happens is when I first walk into a room, being a medium, I'm always hearing the departed. It's just a part of who I am. So when I actually walked into the room, I actually heard of a young male who had departed. So do you connect with that?
Yes.
And you pass in tragedy here in the physical world.
Yes.
And I felt as though it was like a brother to you, but he showed me friendship. So the two of you are close friends here.
Very
in the physical?
close. Yeah, he moved with me.
Okay, wait a minute. Don't tell me anything.
All right.
Know that one of the things that he's explaining, because he just said to me that he wanted to be able to reach you. He tells me about the fact that you were so close, but there was distance between the two of you, that you lost touch with one another. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you had found out that the two of you went on very different paths within life. Because he said to me that he did things that he was not proud of here in this world. And he talks about the way that you had found out the news unexpectedly about his passing. Yeah. And he says that he's sorry for the way that you had gone and that you had found out. He says that you still wish or think about that you wish that you'd have known some of the things that he was going through, because he tells me about the way that he was having some issues with family and within his own life. And he tells me about the fact that he was going to, I keep hearing him living with different people or going to live with others. Do you understand that?
Yes.
He says, I could not find my way within life. He says, and you still wonder if you would have called him or if you would have reached out to him or had communication with him if things would have been different. He says that one of the things is that he wanted to come through and say to you today was about the fact that you did not change or could not have changed anything that went on within his life. He says that he wants to take responsibility for that. He tells me about the fact that, and I'm sorry to bring up some personal things, but he tells me that there was some drugs and alcohol that was involved. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
And he says to me that he was not in his right mind many of the times of what was going on. He actually tells me there was a little bit of relationship issues or some relationship problems that he was going through. Yeah. He says, my life was a mess. He says, and I want to let you know that I always knew that you were there. He says, and I always knew, he says, that I could reach out to you or connected. He says, but I had too much pride. He says, I didn't want you to have to worry about me. He says, and more importantly, he tells me that you found out afterwards that he would check up on you or look through some of the things that you were doing and how well that you were doing. Because he says to me, even on the other side, he's like a guardian angel that's there and watching over you.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And I want to step forward with you as well, because I just felt, and your grandmother departed, and your dad passed as well.
Yes.
So no, it's their way of acknowledging that they're on the other side. Because I felt like you know, your dad trying to come through, but I felt there was a grandmother there almost like pushing him away, because she's very high energy as I'm connecting with her. And she shows me about the fact that when I'm connecting, she was almost like a homemaker here in the physical world, because she's showing me like running around and like cleaning everything as I'm connecting. Do you understand about her personality? Like she was up very early in the morning. She would spend time, like I feel like she's rearranging heaven as I'm talking to her, like moving everything around.
Yes.
She tells me that when she was passing, there was multiple issues that were going on within her body.
Right.
Because she tells me about the way that I feel it right in my chest as I'm connecting with her. She also tells me that one of the things that she wants you to know is about the whole family's on the other side and watching over you. She talks about a move. Did you just move? Perfect. So now it's her way of just congratulating you on the new house or the new place of living and letting you know that she's there. She's pushing your dad forward to speak as well, because your dad wants you to let you know about how much that he loves you, and more importantly, about the way that you talk to him all the time. He tells me about the car conversations, where you're talking to him in the car, either when you're on your work or on the way to work, and do you connect with him with like pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters? Because he just said to me, he says, that's our sign with one another.
It is cool. We play cards with like quarters and...
Oh, you did? And did you find them, or did you find them after your dad's passing and say this was him?
Yes, yeah.
Perfect, because he says to me that he wants you to know that. So know when you got those different things that wasn't coincidence. That's your dad's way of letting you know that he was with you right at that exact moment. He says, I know about the way. He says that you stepped forward to try to keep the family together after my passing. He says, and more importantly, he says about the way, he says that you were there, he says, holding everybody close. He says, and I want to thank you for that. He says, because I never got to express that to you. Wow. He says, and I want to let you know, he says, about how much that I appreciated that. He says, because I knew when I left this world, he says, that you would take care of everything. He says, because you were always there taking care of everyone else that was around us.
Thank you so much, man. Let me tell you this, man. I'm a believer. Now, this is so phenomenal, and what a great experience to just experience. I'm shaking right now because it's kind of surreal, and I want to thank you, man, for giving me and giving Stephanie.
Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that meant.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Absolutely.
All right,
we'll be back in just a moment.
Wow, we are still just in shock from the Matt Fraser. That was so unbelievable. I feel like I'm still shaking. Wow. Very powerful.
There are no words for what I just experienced.
I know.
Not just with my story, but with your story, all of the personal things that you shared about your father. For him to know that was just so impressive.
Wow. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today.